Hi Celeste, it's Auntie Bea, and for your first confirmation, I'm making this video for you as a gift. We're going to trace your relatives back as far as we can, and we'll count the generations as we go along, so we'll see how many there are. So here's the tree, and here you are. We can see your name, Celeste Lee Smith, and that you were born in 2003 in Denver, Colorado. And your dad is William Bradley Smith. That's my brother, born in Kansas City in 1962. So that's one generation back. His parents, Billy William Smith, born in 1940 in Georgia, and your dad's mother, Betty Lou Herr, born in 1940 in Missouri. That's your grandma. That's two generations back. So you'll see how we're counting these out. Now, your grandma Betty, her mother's name was Hazel Mattie Millet, and she was born in 1913 in Missouri. And that's my grandmother and your dad's grandmother. Now, Hazel's parents was Charles M. Millet, born about 1878 in Missouri, and Bessie H. Albin, born in 1881 in Johnsonville, Missouri. Now, if we look at Bessie's parents, her parents are Nancy Ellen Minton, born in 1857 in Lafayette, Missouri, and Isaac Decatur Albin, born in 1854 in Illinois, Coles, Illinois. Now, Isaac's parents was Harriet Reardon, born in 1826 in Kentucky, and George W. Albin, born in 1830 in Harrison, Indiana. And look, here's a picture of him and Harriet. Let's take a look at that. He's actually quite a handsome man. Very nice picture. Back to the tree. Now, George's parents, let's drag the tree around, is Sarah Gwartney, born in 1801 in Mecklenburg County, Virginia, and William Thomas Albin, born in 1805 in Cox's Creek, Kentucky. Now, William's family is Margaret Bruce, born in 1781 in Pennsylvania, and George Henry Albin, born in 1771 in Pennsylvania. Let's look at George Henry's parents. His mother was Melinda Shepherd, very similar to my name, who was born in 1752 in Frederick, Winchester, in the county of Frederick in Virginia. And his father was William Albin, also born in Winchester, Virginia, in 1746. Now, William's parents was Mary Bruce, and she was born in 1715 in Scotland, not even in the United States. And his father was William Albin, born in 1710 in Meath, Ireland. So, we have a Scot who married an Irishman, and they came to the United States. Now, William's mother, Mary, her parents were Sarah Perrell, born in 1690 in Banff, Scotland, and John Bruce, born in 1690 in Scotland as well. Now, John's parents was Mary Christian, born in 1665 in Scotland, in New Deer, Scotland, I like that name, and Thomas Bruce, born in 1664 in Scotland. Let's look at Thomas's family. So we'll draw that a little more. Let's drag that over to the left. There's his mother, Tabitha Mustane, born in Longside, Scotland in 1638, and his father is James Bruce, also born in Longside, Scotland in 1632. Now, James's parents are Janet Jackson, not the singer, born in Edinburgh in 1609, and his father is Patrick Bruce, born in Newton, Scotland, in 1595. Now, Patrick's parents were Jane Fleming, born in Biggar, Scotland, in 1570, and his father is William Bruce, and he was born in Scotland also in 1565. His parents his father was Alexander Bruce, born in 1530, I think you pronounce that Earth, Scotland, and his mother is Janet Livingston, and she was born in 1535 in Callander, Scotland. Now we'll look at Janet's family. Her mother was Anna Douglas, born in 1505, and her father was Alexander Livingston, also born in Callander in 1505. Let's stop and take a quick peek into the Livingston family. Now, I know the page says Generation 9, but we're going to look at a son of the Generation 9, who is Alexander Livingston, who we're looking at now. And here we can see that Alexander Livingston was the 5th Lord Livingston of Callander, who was the guardian of the young Mary Queen of Scots. He married first Janet Stewart, and they had no issue. And then he married second Agnes Douglas, daughter of John, 2nd Earl of Morton. And Alexander Livingston was the 5th Lord Livingston of Callander, and he died in 1553. Now, that date's a little bit off from what we see on the page, but we do know that Agnes Douglas was part of our family tree, so we know that we are looking at the right people. And then it goes on a little bit about their children. His eldest son, John Livingston, the Master of Livingston, married Janet's eldest daughter, Malcolm, 3rd Lord of Fleming, and they had no issue. And John was slain at the Battle of Pinkie on September 10th in 1547. Their second son, William Livingston, became the 6th Lord of Livingston, and he married young Agnes, youngest daughter of Malcolm, the 3rd Lord of Fleming, and their eldest son, Alexander Livingston, the 7th Lord Livingston of Callander, married Helena Hay, elder daughter of Andrew, 8th Earl of Errol, and their youngest son, Thomas Livingston, married Agnes Crawford of Haining. Their 11 times great-granddaughter, Helen Hanson, who was born in Australia, provide much of this missing information. So we'll keep taking a peek at this Livingston history as we go along. Now, Alexander's parents was Agnes Hepburn, born in 1475 in Kilth, Scotland, and his father was Sir William Livingston, born in Callander, Scotland. So back to our Livingston family information, and we're looking at Generation 9 right now. Let's read about Sir William Livingston. He was the 4th Lord Livingston of Callander, who in February 1509 or 10 resigned the whole of his lands on the barony of Callander in favor of his son and heir Alexander, 5th Lord Livingston of Callander, leaving his life rent interest in a reasonable terce for his wife. He married life, owing to his own dissipated habits, was not a happy one. In 1560, Lady Livingston applied to the Ecclesiastic Court of St. Andrew for a decree of divorce on account of her husband having committed adultery with one Mariota Taylor, and having had issued by her. On September 29, 1516, the court granted Lady Livingston a separation, a mensa thorough and mutua cohabitation ex servitude, from her husband, while he was ordered to support her in accordance with her rank. So he gave up everything to get a divorce, or because of a divorce, I guess. He died before April 25th, 1518, and then sometime before April 5th, he was married to Agnes Hepburn, daughter of Alexander, the younger of Whitsom, who was son of Sir Patrick Hepburn, Lord Hailes. And that says he was separated on September 29, 1516. and Sir William Livingston and Agnes had several children. We've already talked about Alexander a great deal. All right, back to our chart. His parents was Beatrice Fleming, born in Biggar, Scotland in 1451. They must be pretty close together because we had another relative from Biggar, remember? And his father was Sir James Livingston, born in Kilth in 1454. Back to the Livingston family history. We're started down on generation 10 and working our way up to generation 8. And we're reading about Sir James Livingston, who was the third Lord Livingston of Callander. He succeeded his childless and insane uncle as the third Lord Livingston of Callander in 1497. It says he married Beatrice Fleming, which we already knew, daughter of Robert, the first Lord Fleming, and granddaughter of Sir Malcolm Fleming of Cumbernauld, who had been executed following the Black Dinner of 1440. Beatrice Fleming was a great 4 times granddaughter of Robert the Bruce and King of Scotland. Ooh. For Beatrice Fleming's descent from the kings of Scotland, there's some links that we can go to, and then they had several children, and the one we care about is Sir William Livingston, our grandfather. Let's go back to our tree. Let's take a look at his profile because we can see there's a picture on it. And let's double click and look at that picture. Let's see if I can make it bigger. No, not really. But you could see it's a castle. That's interesting. That's the Callander house. Now, remember, he was born in Callander, so I wonder if he lived there. Let's turn back to him. And here's a story on him. Let's open this story up. The surname Livingston is of territorial origin, derived from the lands of that same name in West Lothian, just to the southwest of Edinburgh. A Saxon by the name of Leving settled in the area sometime during the reign of Edgar in 10,097 to 11,007, and it is from him that we get the name Levingstown or Livingston. Leving's grandson William was designated in a character as William the Lion of Livingston. His descendant, Sir William Livingston, accompanied King David II on his expedition to England in 1346, and it was from him that he acquired the barony of Callander, Stirlingshire, and whose heiress he married. These are the Lowland Livingstons, whose branches descended from the Livingstons of Dunapens, Kinnaird, Bonton, and Westchester. It was previously suggested that the Highland Livingstones are of quite a different origin. The earliest of the Highland Livingstones were from the Isle of Lismore in the centre of Loch Neen, off the coast of western Scotland. Interesting. So he accompanied the king. That's very cool. Let's go back to him and back to our tree and keep seeing what we can find. Now, Sir James Livingston, his parents, was Elizabeth Hepburn, born in 1437, and his father was Alexander Livingston, and we just saw that name a moment ago in the story, born in 1445. Moving our way down to generation 7, we read that Alexander Livingston, who is known to have been married, but his wife's name has been lost. Well, we know what her name is. We just saw it in the system. So let's go back to our tree and keep on moving. Now, Alexander's parents was Marion in Livingstone, and his father was James Livingstone. And James's family, James was born in 1408. And here on generation 6, we can see a family crest now. That's pretty cool. That's the arms of the Livingston of Callander. And it's telling us that Sir James Livingston was known as the first Lord Livingston of Callander, and he succeeded his father as guardian to James II and became Great Chamberlain and master of the household to that monarch, who always held him in high esteem, and in 1454 raised into the peerage of Scotland as the first Lord Livingston of Callander. And he was married to Marion de Berwick. So we see actually her name a little bit different, Marion de Berwick, daughter of Thomas de Berwick. And then they had several children. So let's go back to the tree and keep on rolling. His parents were, his mother was Dauphine de Dundas, born in 1384 in Dundas, Scotland, and his father was Alexander Livingstone, born in 1382 in Stirling, Scotland. Now here is another interesting picture, so let's go look at his profile and see what we can find. Well, here's interesting. This is the family crest. The Livingstone family crest is quite pretty. Let's go back. And here are Alexander Livingston and his wife Janet Dundas. Very interesting. Statues of them. Very fascinating. And more of the castles. Here's the Edinburgh Castle. I wonder if they lived there. Quite amazing, don't you think? Let's go back to the family tree. And now we're looking at Generation 5. So Sir Alexander Livingston of Callander, who was the favorite counselor of James I of Scotland, after whose death he acted as guardian to the young king James II during his minority, and in that capacity for some time the virtual ruler of Scotland. So little James II was king when he was a young boy, I guess, and so I guess our great-grandfather was the virtual ruler. That's pretty cool. And he was married to Dundas, who was reporting to have been the daughter of James. So we saw in that picture they referred to her as Janet. So Dauphine de Dundas must also went by the name Janet. So pretty interesting. All right. So Alexander Livingstone, his parents were Hannah Menteith, who was born in 1355 in Scotland, and his father was John Livingston, born in 1350 in Stirling, Scotland. Now in Generation 4, Sir John Livingston of Callander was slain at the Battle of Homildon Hill on September 14th, 1402, as was his cousin Sir Robert Livingston of Drumry and Wemyss. Ooh, very sad that a cousin and his brother died. And he was married to Menteith, daughter of John Menteith of Kerse, and they had quite a few children. Now John's parents was William Livingston, born in 1290 in Scotland, and his mother was Christian Callander, born in 1300 in Scotland. That's interesting. On our generation countdown, Sir William Livingston of Callander accompanied King David II on his expedition to England in 1346 and acquired the barony of Callander, Stirlingshire, and whose heiress he married. The heiress he married was Christian de Callander, the daughter of Sir Patrick de Callander. And so that's interesting. So this is where he acquired it all. So let's look at her family. Her mother was Margaret de Laval, born in 1296 in Scotland, and her father was Patrick de Callander, born in 1295, and you can see he has his castle too. So this is that Callander Castle that we saw earlier. Let's take a look and see what we can find. If we'd kept going up that Livingston generation, what we would have seen was, in Generation 2, Sir William de Livingston of Gorgon, Cranmiller, and Drumry was a firm adherent of the House of Bruce and fought against the English at Haldon Hill, and we already saw a little bit of that, and you can see the same family crest that we saw earlier. And in Generation 1, Sir Andrew de Livingston was one of the Scottish knights summoned by King Edward on May 24th in 1297 to attend his expedition to Flanders. He was killed that same year in the revolt led by the great Scottish hero Sir William Wallace. And Sir Andrew was the Sheriff of Lanark, and it appears that Sir William Wallace emerged as the leader of the Scottish forces after Sir Andrew was killed. It is an unofficial record that the Sheriff of Lanark was killed when Scottish rebels burned Lanark in 1297, and a blind Harry, the minstrel, asserts that the sheriff was an Englishman by the name of Hilsrig, but there was no such record of a man having held this office. Sir Andrew de Livingston is known to have been Sheriff of Lanark during the year preceding Wallace's revolt, and it is also evident that he must have been deceased about this time due to the fact that after Wallace's revolt there was no further reference to him in public records. And he was married to Lady Ellen de Quarantley, so we don't know a little bit any more about him. If I scroll up a little bit, we can see that we have been indeed reading from this website called Livingston of Calendar. And if you look, we'll see Sir William supported the House of Bruce and accompanied King David II on his ill-fated invasion of England. So there's a lot to read about. It's kind of interesting. We'll have to keep reading that, but we're going to go in a different direction right now. So back to our tree. Let's look at this castle. It's a pretty color picture. Very beautiful. Look at that. We'll have to go visit that someday. The Calendar House is an imposing mansion set within the grounds of Falkirk's Calendar Park, built in the style of a French chateau. The house has a 600-year history, playing host to many prominent historical figures, including Mary, Queen of Scots, Oliver Cromwell, Bonnie Prince Charles, and Queen Victoria. The current building is by far the most substantial historical building in the area, with a 300-foot frontage. Wow. We'll have to go to Scotland and see that sometime. Now, where were we? Patrick Calendar. His father was Alwyn Calendar, who was born in 1275, and his father was John Calendar, born in 1250, all in Calendar, Scotland. Now, John's parents was Eva de Lennox, born in 1200 in Lennox, Scotland, and his father was Malcolm Thame of de Calendar, born in 1190 in Calendar, Scotland. Now, if we go back to his mother's side, Eva, her mother was Eve de Menteith, and her father was Alwyn de Lennox, born in 1165 in Loch Lomond, Scotland. And Alwyn's parents? We have more. Alwyn Og MacMurdoch, born in Loch Lomond, Scotland, in 1130. Now I'm popping to Wikipedia for a moment just so you can see. Mayor of Lennox, or Earl of Lennox, was the ruler of the long-lasting provincial earldom of Lennox, and there's a lot of information, and there have been quite a few rulers, so there was kind of a king of Lennox. And if you look at the first one, Aelin, that's actually the correct way for the name Alwyn. So you can see Alwyn, and it's spelled with an I instead of a Y. But yes, that's our grandfather. So he was the very first Earl of Lennox. And I point this out because we have a lot to learn, and we only went up one little branch of the tree, so imagine what's available to us. And her mother was MacAlwyn. Now I'm assuming that might be a last name, not really sure. She was born in 1100 in Lennox, Scotland. And her parents, Alwyn Moore MacArkle, born in 1070, and her mother, Allen MacArkle, born in 1075. Now, on her father, Alwyn, his father was Arkle, Fitzarkle, interesting name, born in 1041 in Bingley, England, so they came from England to Scotland. And his mother was named Sigrid, born in 1045. Now Sigrid's parents was Kilvert Legulp, born in West in the county of Yorkshire, England, and her mother was Ecfrida Northumbria, born in 1000, Durham, England. So let's drag Ecfrida down and look at her parents. Now her father was Eldon Durham, and not sure when he was born. He died in 1018, but he was born in Durham, England. And his parents was Alfred Gunnarsson, born in 1000, and Frida Elgafu, born in, she died in 1002. So, that date can't be right. He wasn't born in 1000 and died in 1002. I think the birth date must be wrong. Because now if we look at further in his, we can see his parents, his mother's name was Hilda Gunnarsson and his father was Thord Gunnarsson, and then that's the end of the line. But we took our family from 2012 all the way back to the year 938. So, we're Scottish and we're English, along with being American. Okay, we should keep doing a little bit of research. You see, we have lots of different interesting family members, and I think the Gunnarsson eras are a little bit confused because you can see Thorold Gunnarsson that we have the right one, born in 938 in Wessex, England, and we have the right year he died, and we have his father's name, which I did not have before, Gunnar of Deira, Alderman of Northumberland. But and we had the spouse name as Hilda, but we see here wife, Emma, wife of, so not sure exactly what her name is, but we do have dates here. And it says that the daughter, what we were thinking is Ecfrida Elgafu, it looks like she might have been the Queen of England. I'm not sure what this is, but we have a lot to look at. I doubt she was the Queen of England, but you never know. So Celeste, we have gone back 36 generations for you. So that we found some interesting facts, and I'm sure we'll keep digging and find more in the years to come. Meanwhile, I want you to note that you come from great people and a great line, and that's who you are. You're a great person, and you could do anything you want. So I hope you had a great confirmation, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And remember, Uncle Richard and Auntie Bea love you. Bye.